Hello, Angelo Batio here. I got online a little early just to make sure that everything's running smoothly, so never think that rockers are not on time. So, okay, we're getting people here. Great. If you watch the show, you know I'm going to do shout-outs in the beginning. Edward, you're the first one I call out. Yes. Paulo, hello, how are you? Alexis, hello. Hi, Alexis. Corey, how are you? Let's see. I can't read that. Emil, Jamie, hello. Cool, man. We've got a lot of people online. Let's see. There's Tanya, Denny, Brett. Hello, Roxana. Also, somebody from Instagram, Miss Metal. I don't actually know her name. I only know her as Miss Metal. But she said she would come to the show. Hello, everybody. Masaka, hello. Malcolm, aloha. Yes, all right. Well, let's start things out here. Okay, hey, Cynthia, how are you? Nice to see you too, Roxana. So, and then that name, I'm not so sure. Matito, hey, Denny, how are you? Nick, my good friend Nick, he's putting up a lot of great videos right now. I'm the best. Thank you very much. Okay, well, let's start this. Now, I wanted to talk about neoclassical music. And I know, from writing the song No Boundaries, that people associate me with that. And the irony of it is, with my degree in music, I obviously studied the Baroque era, which neoclassical is kind of comes from, that Yngwie sound. But I was more of a Mozart fanatic. Believe me, I'm not taking anything from the genius of Bach and Vivaldi and Handel and all that. I love the music. I was more drawn to the style of Mozart because the humor in it, and he used major keys. What did I, because a lot of things in Baroque art where Mozart would, so I really loved that. I mean, I love orchestral music to begin with, but let's talk about neoclassical. Now, one of the things that is very predominant, for example, I'm going to give a promo to another artist today, but Yngwie Malmsteen's latest album, Parabellum, is really great. It's totally Yngwie overkill guitar, and I mean that in the nicest sense of the word. He is just riffing everywhere almost all the time, and it's really intense. But one of the things that comes through with all the records that he's done, and just like a lot of Baroque music, is there are sequences that you always hear. There is a melodic sequence, which would be like this. Like you go like up. In other words, you would say take 3 notes or 4 notes, start on one scale degree, then just move it up to the next scale degree and play those same notes again. Like, I'll show you in a major scale. I had to change it up at the end. Joey was getting bored. And so, but when you play it fast, it's got that real neoclassical sound to it. Or one of the things that I find that, like, I'll be in the Spanish Phrygian or the Phrygian dominant. When you hear a lot of things, especially Yngwie does this, and again, I'm saying this with reverence. He's one of my all-time favorite guitar players. He does this at least 50 times on the new album. This. He always ends on that third. So he will end on that major third in that Phrygian dominant. Like. And it's really an interesting sound. And it's something that is very signature, but one of the things that I'm going to start playing some progressions for you after I do a little talking about the guitar. And also, too, I have an announcement to make now that we have a lot of people online. I'm going to be doing one of the most killer shows ever. I know we had to cancel the tour. You know, a lot of the venues just change not protocols, but they change. You know, you have to have vaccinations. It's all up in the air right now with a lot of the. So we just decided to postpone it till 2022. But I am going to be playing on stage with the Smashing Pumpkins next Friday night in Chicago at Riot Fest. So I will be at Riot Fest on stage, Billy Corgan, Jeff Schneider, and the crew playing a really cool song at Riot Fest. So I'm a guest of the Pumpkins. I can't believe it, man. It's really great. They're amazing people. I love the band. And it is going to be intense. Over 30,000 people will be at this show. So if you're around the Chicago area, or if you have tickets for Riot Fest, and especially the Smashing Pumpkins are headlining next Friday night, you're going to see MAB on stage with them, and it's going to be a shred fest. And who would have thought, huh? And, you know, but I love it. You know, I love the music and the song we're picking. I'm not going to tell you. You're going to hear it. But we already know the song. I'm going into the rehearsal Thursday night. We're going to rehearse it. And then Friday night will be the concert. Now, this guitar is one of the ones that I wanted to use for this neoclassical. This is the hybrid. And you know, when you listen, again, I'm going to defer to Yngwie because I think he's, you know, when he comes to this thing, you know, he's really one of the ones that started this on guitar with Uli John Roth. And, you know, of course, I was there too. But again, my style was a little different because I wasn't just influenced so much by the Baroque era. It was more a classic era, which was change. And see, the Baroque era, they used to call it unity of affection. Not affection, oh, I love you, I don't like you. In fact, I rule this show. See, Joey doesn't like anybody. He doesn't like Robert. He tolerates us all. But unity of affection, AFF. In other words, the whole idea of Baroque music, the thought process was the unity of a piece of music in the feeling of the song from beginning to end. The unity of the atmosphere, of the emotion, it was unity of affection. Okay, so from beginning to end, the piece, it doesn't mean it couldn't have major chords or modulate and change keys. What it meant that the basic atmosphere of the song was unified. In other words, it didn't go, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm sad, oh, You know, it didn't jump from musical emotions. However, the classic era, see, that's what happened. It's kind of like, you know, hair metal, grunge, the pendulum swings. The classic era, the Mozarts, the Haydns, that evolved out of this unity of affection. One of the things, the classic era is signified by change. Like they had this thing called sonata form. We used to call it sonata allegro. Check out some of these words. Exposition, recapitulation. Okay, so the exposition is the first part of a sonata, and it has a main theme, a subordinate theme, and a closing theme. In other words, and the idea of the classic era was change. So these are things that I know from music, but it's also why I never wanted to be like kind of just pigeonholed in the Baroque era, because my education and my what I liked was more a later style. However, Bach is one of my all-time favorites. Vivaldi, I mean, what can you say? Handel. So let me show you a little bit on this guitar and why I chose it. This is the hybrid. Now, they're having a special now. There is 25% off this guitar for the next 48 hours. If you go in the comments, you're going to see all the information posted. We have counted 15 sounds on this. This is called the hybrid. It's the ET, like a telly. Now, we also have an ES. It's a Strat style with 3 pickups. I think there's 23 different tones. But here's what I love about this. The single coil sound, this is a true single coil guitar and a true humbucker guitar. And the only way that worked, whoops, I had some overdrive on it. When you use compression, because see, the first pickup, that lipstick pickup that they call, is softer. See, now here's the humbucker. That is the bridge position humbucker. And here is the lip. See, it's almost the same volume because if I didn't use compression, we kept the natural pickup volumes of the single coils and the natural of the humbuckers. This is a true hybrid guitar. We could have lowered one, raised one, and evened it out, but a single coil pickup is inherently softer, but it gives such an expressive sound. And then here's that middle position. And then here's your lead position, bridge on the telly. And then I use it. So you can get that really killer. Front position. Sequence. See, what I'm doing is I'm playing a series of sequences. Now 16th note triplets, but you can do it when you use a Baroque sound, a neoclassical sound. You're a lot of times playing around the harmonic minor scale and the melodic minor, which a lot of times nowadays they call the jazz minor, which is, and it's really wild because when you go up, you go up with a major 6th and the major 7th, and you go down with a flatted 7th and a flatted 6th. And so they call it melodic. And it really, like when you play sequences, a lot of times you'll use really the straight harmonic minor scale. So one of the things, and I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit because I want to show off the guitar because I love it so much, but I also want everybody to know, I really care about you learning something. And so, I'm trying to, look at questions and doing a lot of things while I'm talking to you. But I can say this, that playing this neoclassical sound, it's one of the most fulfilling things. People just respond. Like when I wrote No Boundaries, and I did this. I mean, when I play that live, people actually sing, especially if you've had a couple of beers. But I mean, it's very melodic, and it follows a sequence. Here's the chord progression. Watch. Now, there are other progressions, too. Let's take Burn. I mean, Ritchie Blackmore was the master. Now, I changed that when I did my version. I didn't particularly care for this. I mean, I loved Ritchie Blackmore doing it, but I didn't think that was an MAB riff. So I went like... And I actually added a triplet. I like that better. So what I did was I played a harmonic minor sequence, and one of the things that I loved about Burn, I mean, when you go into this riff, I don't care if you know orchestral music or not. I don't care if you are the death metal god of doom. What I care about is the sound that the music makes when you're playing it. And so when you hear this, something just that has this kind of flair. And then I started to embellish it, and I was doing this like... And where would you go? And see, and then I played a sequence. I went, it's all about sequences. So you go bump, 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 and so you find the harmonic minor, and or the Phrygian dominant works very well too, which, for example, a harmonic minor scale. If you start on that fifth note, it sounds like this. You know, it's almost like. What I do is I have the clean sound with my signature overdrive. Listen, I mean, this guitar is just so expressive. And then back to metal. Or like now, another thing too is pedal tones. A pedal tone is like this. If you think about putting your foot on a pedal, dunk, a bass pedal, literally on the floor like an old style organ, and they use, and the pedal tone, it's a common tone, like this. Now I use the melodic minor there. See, that's why I went 6, 7, 8. The melodic minor works so well with using neoclassical things and playing neoclassical riffs. But again, it's almost. It's just like. There's just so many things that you can do. And one of the things that I highly recommend, I know I always go back to this, in a live stream like this, I can only talk about so much. But my Metal Method programs, metalmethod.com, one of my Speed Kills programs is called the Neoclassical Zone. I cannot stress it enough. I show all these different neoclassical patterns. And if you get anything out of this live stream today, the word that you should remember is sequence, because a lot of what will make that sound is either a melodic sequence or a harmonic sequence. Melodic meaning pure notes, harmonic meaning chords. And so you can here, like, see, what am I doing when I'm playing Bird? See. And so you hear these all the time. I mean, people have used them a million different ways. But so. And so once you start hearing this, or like this, sequence. And then you want to end it some way. You don't have to go ba da 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 da. And so you don't have. So what I'm saying is this: sequence, harmonic, melodic sequence. Now, a little bit more about this bad boy. I want to stress that when I play these neoclassical passages, my thinking is not unity of affection like the Baroque era, like a piece having the same feeling from beginning to end. I'm more of the next era, which is classic era, the classical era, the Mozart era. And it's where they would just stop on a dime, they would change feelings, they would change a lot of things in the music. Their idea was change. So they wanted to mix it up. It's kind of like, some eras you have long hair, then the young kids say, well, my dad has long hair, so I'm going to cut my hair short. Like people sometimes say, dude, why don't you dress your age? I'm like, well, let's see. When I was 17, I had really long hair. I guess I am dressing my age. If I was not dressing my age, I'd have a buzz cut with tattoos going, yo, see what I'm saying. And so then when people would go, oh, dude, he's trying to just, why don't you dress your age? And I'm like, I always think when people tell me that, I look at them, I go, and I think to myself, wow, this must be some fashion icon to really, to be able to criticize another person like this. I don't know, I get a kick out of it because I laugh, because I don't care what you say, I ain't changing nothing. And so, but it's just so funny to me, some guy that's got like the nose of a pig on his Facebook page and goes, I think that you need to dress your age, bro. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, dude, but I ain't got no pig nose for a photo, so that ain't my screenshot, bro. And so I just think it's hilarious. And I also think, too, that for this sound, getting back to this, I'm just having a good time today. Just thinking, just knowing I'm playing with the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, I've known about it for a little bit, but I couldn't announce it till I got, obviously approval. But it's going to be one fantastic show. And I played with Jeff Schroeder before too, several times already. He's really a fantastic guitar player, and we have a section in the show where we're going to just let it rip. It's going to be really great. And I know there's, somebody in the audience is going to have video, so I'm sure they'll be able to see it on it. Okay, now, but getting back to this, and getting back to how I can use this with neoclassical riffs, I love the single coil sound for it. It's just got such an expressive sound because it's the real deal. Now that's without my overdriver. I have a signature overdriver, and it's amazing. So now I clicked it on. It just gives you the little bit of the metal. So, sequences. A lot of music has sequences in it. Sequences are great because you can play something brutally fast and the audience can latch onto it because you're repeating it. And so and even there's chromatic sequences. I mean, I've done this before. Let's start. Now I'm still on the lipstick. Now I'm switching to humbuckers. Okay, now, before I play again, I might take a couple questions here. Is anybody, something happened here. Okay, yes, the Shredmaster. Okay, let's just get back to this. My guitar went kind of haywire here. I don't know if it's my pedal board or not. I have, my pedal board with the... Anyway, so let's just recap. The guitar is 25% off. Hey, Spike, how are you, man? I saw your name up there. It just says, and Miss Metal, I said hello to you earlier. Hello. And anyway, who's that? Caitlin, okay? But anyway, this guitar right now, 25% off. for the next 2 days. Now, also, we have a premiere happening tomorrow with myself on guitar, Vinny Appice, the immortal drummer from Black Sabbath and Dio that was on all the hits, on drums, the amazing Rudy Sarzo, who told me once he struck lightning, lightning struck him 3 times. 1, Ozzy Osbourne playing with Randy Rhoads. 2, Quiet Riot. And 2 plus 2 is metal 4 minus metal 1, Whitesnake. So, and he played later in Dio. So the fantastic, unbelievable Rudy Sarzo on bass, Vinny Appice on drums, then Melody from the up-and-coming band Liliac. I'm sure that a lot of people know about Liliac. They've got a massive following. She's really young. I don't know if she's 20 or 19. I'm not 100% sure, but she's young and her soul is old. And I mean that in the best possible way. When she sings rock and metal, it comes from a place well beyond her years. And what song do we do? Fool for Your Lovin', because we used songs from all the different artists. So we played one of my songs called Arms. We did one of Liliac's songs that Melody did called Nothing, which will be out later. And then we did the hits because, people said, well, why are you playing covers? It's their music. Rudy Sarzo played Crazy Train with Ozzy and Randy Rhoads. So what can you say? When you hear Rainbow in the Dark, Vinny Appice is the drummer on the original recording. These aren't covers. These are our interpretations of their songs. So we're doing Fool for Your Lovin'. And I have to say, out of all the things that we've released, it is my personal favorite. I didn't know it when we played it. We're just doing a bunch of songs, playing the best of our ability. But, and they all came out tight. I remember Vinny telling me after we did the recordings and the videos, it was all live. You can't goof around. How do you edit stuff, when you've got drums bleeding into the guitar? This is the real deal. And so I remember Vinny saying the one thing that he really liked about the ensemble is that we immediately sounded like a band. And that was a really cool thing because you've got Rudy, that guy he's got this massive bass sound and he's just moving and grooving. And you've got Vinny who, he could go and make it sound better than anybody. His pocket is it's so grooving and so heavy. He's a very signature style drummer. When you hear those fills like in Holy Diver and all that, when you do the song as a drummer, like you cover it, you should really do those songs, those fills. But Fool for Your Lovin' just came out magical. When I heard the mix and I saw the video, I went, wow, that was really good. And even everybody was going, wow. And so anyway, let's get back to that. But I want to promote that. I want to talk about my YouTube channel a little bit. I'm getting a lot of views, thousands of new followers. Go to my YouTube channel. You can see this video afterwards. You can see a ton of content. And remember, if you want in-depth on anything that I've talked about, where it's specifically focused on the lesson, go to metalmethod.com and get speed kills. Also, Doug Marks, who, we're like brothers. We've known each other forever. I've only been with one company my whole career doing, actually two. It was originally Starlix, because I didn't know Doug. When my contract expired, I went strictly to Metal Method. We did speed kills, and I've never went to another company after that. I've been very loyal to Doug, and Doug's been real loyal to me. But he makes great lessons too. And between the two of us, we've got you covered. So anyway, that's about that. Sequences. So all you need to know, harmonic sequences, melodic sequences. Sequences are the key. Do-do-do-do, 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 do-do-do. And so when you hear this, or you hear a progression, what you should do is think about, follow your ear. Your ear will tell you if you hear, I see this is unplugged. I'm so sorry, you guys. My pedal board thing got unplugged. I'm like, what the heck? Because I've got a bunch of pedals in line here. So especially a compressor. When you hear that, you can go. Or like I did in No Boundaries. Now if I play, obviously it sounds different than, you know, that's more orchestral. Then I modulate it up a whole step there, bum, 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 bum. And so, or when you hear, but your ear will tell you where to go. You know, and I was saying earlier about a chromatic sequence. It's not the most melodic, but creates tension, suspense. That's why they use, oh no, you really screwed up, dude. And so that's why when you hear, you know, I use a lot of chromatics in my playing. And, okay, are we on some David Gilmour stuff here? Anyway, well, I'm talking about neoclassical things. But David Gilmour, I will always come up. Why? Because he can put more feeling like one note, bro, than like anybody can put him in a note. And I love David Gilmour. We already went through that program. Now, one of the things that you should learn is also one of the key chords and the key ways to play neoclassical parts are to use arpeggios. Okay, now I'm in A minor. Now I'm on E diminished. So when you do this, diminish, and again, these are all in speed kills. You need to learn the shapes. So because using arpeggios over these chords, like I said, when I did Burn, I'm like, much territory I got out of one scale, one position. When you do these sequences, you can, yeah, it always has a neoclassical sound. Somebody, yeah, Nick wrote that. That when you do those diminished arpeggios, and a diminished chord or a diminished triad can be, the name of it can be any one of the notes that you play. For example, if I want to play like a G sharp diminished triad, not triad, I'm sorry, chord, because I'm using 4, triad 3 chord form. Sorry, I'm reading questions and doing this. It's my double guitar nature here. And so, but when you play that, you could call it G sharp diminished, you could call it B diminished, so you could call it a lot of things. You could call, in other words, any one of the notes that you actually play, it can be the name of that diminished chord. Why? Because it's all minor thirds. It's like an augmented chord. An augmented chord is major thirds. And our harmony is called tertian harmony, based on thirds. The whole Western, and it is Western music. Started with the Greeks, but they're part of the EU, so I guess we call Western. But it really formulated over a long, long time. But our music and our harmony is based on thirds, because thirds determine the sonority of a chord, meaning a major chord, a minor chord, a diminished chord, augmented chord, and then variations. So what you have is the thirds determine everything. So our music is based on thirds, and that's why they call it tertian harmony. And so when you use these diminished chords and these diminished triads, you're getting the bad boy or the bad girl neoclassical song. I'm going to take this string dampener off so I can play. This is a part that I wrote in the finish line. It's one of my songs. I kind of got the idea from Too Many Notes by Steve Morse. And then somebody called it Yngwie Can't Touch This. That is not my title. I called it the finish line. But I went like this. Then I go. And then I used the harmonic minor down. And then I did a really cool progression. I twisted it around. So instead of just going straight like this. So what I did was I used a lot of different chords on this, and I started off, it was kind of funny. What I wanted to do, again, it's my classical music influence, not Baroque influence. I started it off like and I went. It's Alvin Lee from the classic rock band 10 Years After, and he played that at the original Woodstock. And then I used a little Charlie Christian. So I used a lot of different things, and then I broke into the neoclassical stuff. But I just had to do it. I had to. Why? Because I wanted to. And it's my song. I can do what I want. And but I love playing this style, and I incorporate a lot of progressions and sequences and all the things. But I can't stress enough. If you really want to get a detailed analysis and really want to learn the ARPs that will give you this sound, go to Metal Method. Get my speed kills. It's called the Neoclassical Zone. I show a lot of different neoclassical riffs, but if you get the Speed Kills series, I show all the different ARPs, a lot of different ways to play diminished. People that have seen me play, you know that I have a lot of different ways to do it. And I use it, and that's the point. And, it is only a technique. I'm not here to judge what you play or how you play, just show you what is available to you. So, to recap everything, one, if you're going to be at Riot Fest next Friday night, the Smashing Pumpkins are headlining the show. Over 30,000 people will be there, and I'm going to be playing on stage with them for a song. It's going to be amazing. We're going to tear it up. And that's going to be next Friday night, not tomorrow night, but the next week. Also, the hybrid ET, it just doesn't get better. You get so many different phenomenal, true sounds. It's a great recording guitar. I've used this in the studio several times now. The neck is beautiful, medium jumbo frets, top of the line German-made Floyd Rose. And this is, I don't want to keep being redundant and say the real deal, but this is the only true hybrid that you can find. This is a true tele hybrid and double humbucker hybrid, and you can mix those sounds. So you get the girth and the richness of the humbuckers and that biting edge, that Blackmore always had. You can hear it. I can play Burn. I can sound almost exactly like it. And so this is 25% off. Also, you've got to check out the app, the GoDPS Music Live app. Fool for Your Lovin'. Man, did it turn out great. Vinny Appice on drums, Rudy Sarzo on bass, me on guitar, Melody, the lead singer, the amazing young lead singer from Liliac. She's really, she, like I said, somewhere in her soul is some ancient metal dude channeling through. I mean this in a good way. I'm not trying to be weird or anything, but it's just really amazing the maturity in this girl's voice. It's incredible. And also check out my YouTube channel. There's so much content on there. I mean, there's so many videos and, playthroughs, lessons, all sorts of things. So there's a lot of, ways that you can find me online. But anyway, I just want to say this. Sawtooth Guitars is amazing. Also, one of the things about Sawtooth that not a lot of companies do is many of their guitars across the board are available in left-handed models. And that's something and we have them in stock. It's one thing to advertise, the new 2021s are in, but it's September already, bro. I don't care, but we ain't got them yet, but they look really good. I swear to God, in 2022, we're going to have the 2021s. I mean, it happens all the time, especially during this, pandemic era. It's easy to say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to play 2 guitars at the same time. Well, shut up, bro. Just do it. Well, I swear to God, dude, I'm going to do it. No, bro. Put the guitar on, strap it in, go for it. Why I'm saying that? We actually have a limited edition double guitar that's coming out. Anyway, that's another lesson talk, but I was pretty animated today, I have to admit. I don't do drugs. I don't drink for these shows. I'm a very occasional drinker, but I'm really excited because we're getting at the end of this pandemic and so many good things are going on. And like I talked about last week, I look at life like a coin. And on one side of the coin is PMA, positive mental attitude. The other side is negative mental attitude. In my world, coins don't usually stand on edge. Yeah, every once in a while, you flip a coin, it'll land right like this. But 99.99% of the time, it's going to land one way or the other. So you got to ask yourself, which way do you want it to land? Do you want it to land on a positive mental attitude? Or do you want it to land on a negative mental attitude? And so I prefer to be positive. And, and there's so many cool things happening. And it's not like somebody gives me all this stuff. So, oh, Michael, you're wonderful. We're just going to give you. It doesn't really work like that. You actually have to put in the time. I wrote No Boundaries. I've written 15 solo albums. My latest solo album on Rat Pack Records is really awesome. It's called More Machine Than Man. It is not neoclassical, but I use neoclassical parts because, again, this is something about me. I don't use unity of affection. That is a Baroque concept. I'm more of a classic and romantic and above and experimental where change. So, it's like Dream Theater. They change. That's my thinking. I use music to tell my own story, and my story, within the story, I like some different chapters in it. And again, that takes nothing away from the genius of Bach and Handel and Vivaldi. Okay, they are right at the level. I never can say how is Bach better than Mozart or Beethoven. They're just at this exalted level of gods. So I'm not criticizing their music. I'm just saying what their thought process was, and what mine is different. Mine is more of a classic era. So anyway, I want to thank you very much for Sawtooth Guitars, Chromacast, and Go DPS Music. You've got to check out all this stuff. I'm Angelo Batio Live. Remember, the Neoclassical Zone. You can find it at metalmethod.com. See ya.